Say hey, baby.
Hey, what up, though?
You just have the best guy in your life.
Yes, I did.
From a dive. No Olga, no Coney Island. Real.
Real.
Let's show you Mykonos.
Investigation is underway in Sterling Heights after a shooting leaves a woman dead, and we're told it was all over an argument.
We're extremely devastated as a family. We're just devastated.
A heartbroken family member can't believe she just lost her niece to gun violence. And even more devastating, the person who pulled the trigger was the niece's brother.
Around 9 a.m. on May 26, Sterling Heights police responded to the parking lot of the Regal Palace in the 6,000 block of 19 Mile Road, just east of Mound Road, for reports of a shooting. Upon arrival, they would find an adult female suffering from multiple gunshot wounds.
Let's walk everyone through this because people are going to recognize the building where this happened or the business. We're right at the corner of Mound and 19 Mile. Family-run business here, Regal Palace Family Fun Entertainment, and the other business here, Koth. Koth makes soap. People are going to recognize Regal Palace because it has kids' parties inside with video games and bounce houses. Both are related, tied together, but this happened, police say, on the Koth side of things during a horrible argument. Follow me this way because here's the building. Again, parents take their kids here for parties and whatnot. None of that was happening right now, but at 9 this morning, police get the call. I'll walk you right up to the tape. They roll up here, as you can see their cars. There's a 54-year-old woman's body right there in the parking lot. 9 a.m. as they're opening up essentially with the Koth Industries, the soap industries here. And that's evidence of a shootout. Brother and sister shooting it out in the parking lot.
The victim was identified as 54-year-old mother of two, Rita Evans, who was transported to a local hospital where she was sadly pronounced dead. Rita is described by her family as an amazing, wonderful, and loving woman who was a great philanthropist and mother. A preliminary investigation revealed that Rita was shot by her own half-brother as the two got into an argument over a business dispute. The two co-owned a family business that started in December of 2008 called Regal Palace, a well-known kids and family entertainment center, and an adjacent business called Cath Chemicals, a chemical company that makes hand soap and other items, with Rita's brother being listed as the CEO or resident agent. A resident agent is an individual or company that is designated to receive legal correspondence on behalf of the company. Rita was listed as the CFO or Chief Financial Officer, meaning she was responsible for overseeing financial operations, budgeting, and financial reporting. According to a press release, as Rita's brother, 50-year-old Zachary Taylor Holston III, exited the workplace in Sterling Heights, he was approached by Rita along with her husband and daughter in the parking lot, at which time he and Rita began a verbal dispute. As Holston proceeded to enter his vehicle, Rita, along with her husband and daughter, approached the passenger door where a physical altercation erupted over documents that were subsequently found inside of the vehicle. At some point during the dispute, both Rita and Zachary pulled out firearms and began shooting at one another, with a full-blown shootout occurring just feet away from an adjacent daycare center and convenience store. As the sounds of gunshots finally came to an end, Rita's deceased body laid in the parking lot as her half-brother, daughter, and husband were left uninjured. Holston contacted police and waited at the scene until they arrived. Although cooperative with detectives, he was arrested and taken into custody for further questioning to determine if this was a case of self-defense or murder with intent. Prosecutors, on the other hand, claim that surveillance video they obtained of the incident reveals otherwise. Macomb County Assistant Prosecutor Steve Fox stated the following: Holston turned it from a verbal dispute to something far worse. This included pushing away a young woman, assumed to be Rita's daughter, who was trying to get in between Rita Evans and the defendant, drawing his firearm when Rita had no gun at all in her hand. It was in her purse, pointing the gun at Rita as she was getting her own gun in self-defense. Family members were left shocked as they tried to process everything that happened. To their knowledge, there was no indication of any prior animosity between the two. A close aunt says she has reasons to believe that Holston was the aggressor, as he frequently trains at a gun range. In her words, he could have wounded her, but he didn't have to kill her.
We're extremely devastated as a family. We're just devastated.
A heartbroken family member can't believe she just lost her niece to gun violence. And even more devastating, the person who pulled the trigger was the niece's brother.
From what we understand, that this is a dispute over business between a brother and a sister. And ultimately, in the mix of the dispute, they both pulled out firearms and multiple shots were fired and the female was struck.
The incident unfolded at 9 a.m. in the parking lot of the siblings' business called CASHAPP Chemicals in Sterling Heights.
They make hand soap and different types of chemicals.
Family members have identified the victim as 54-year-old Rita Evans, who was pronounced dead at the hospital. Her brother is Zachary Holston III, who was not injured. He called police and said he was involved in a shooting. Friday afternoon, police told Fox 2 that Holston is being held until a prosecutor can see the case and appropriate charges can be filed.
I have to point the finger at my nephew who did the shooting. You know, he is I won't say he's an excellent marksman, but he's very good with a gun. So if he wanted to stop his sister or wound his sister, he could have done that. He didn't have to kill his sister.
The scene's so chaotic out here, the victim's purse is now considered evidence. But as this investigation continues, the key question is, will the brother be charged or will this be considered self-defense?
Whether it was self-defense or whether it wasn't, these things are going to be figured out.
Police say they are looking at surveillance video and other evidence to send to the prosecutor's office. This gas station clerk who works near the shooting scene is upset that shots were fired outside.
We could have been outside, something could have happened. Something could happen to our customers. It's crazy that something like this happened around us.
Now Rita is being remembered for how she lived.
She was a wonderful, giving, loving woman.
This family hopes other families will learn from their tragedy.
People have to learn how to talk regardless of what it is. It can be talked out. It should not be a shootout.
A beloved wife, mother, and grandmother, Rita Kathleen Evans, will be laid to rest on June 6 in Shelby Township, Michigan. 50-year-old Zachary Taylor Holston III remained in custody as police waited for the autopsy results from the Macomb County medical examiners to determine exactly how Rita died. They also conducted interviews, collected additional information, and combed through surveillance footage. According to a press release from the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office, he was subsequently charged with second-degree murder and felony firearm. He was arraigned in the Shelby District Court, where bond was set at $500,000 cash surety. The bond includes conditions of a GPS tether with home confinement, a mental health evaluation, and no contact with Rita's family or business. He is expected back in court on June 8th. The case remains ongoing.
It's not the type of gathering a local businessman thought he would ever have to attend.
Zachary Taylor Holston III.
But on Tuesday, Zachary Holston is now called a defendant who could face severe punishment if found guilty.
This is a life maximum felony.
Holston was arraigned on second-degree murder and felony firearm charges for allegedly killing his half-sister, Rita Evans, who he ran the family business with called CASHAPP Chemicals, a soap-making company.
Mr. Holston, do you understand those charges and the penalties? Yes, I do. Court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf.
According to police last Friday, as Holston was leaving the family business in Sterling Heights, he was approached by Evans, her husband, and her daughter. That's when a verbal dispute between Holston and Evans began over paperwork. That dispute soon turned physical as Holston tried to get into his vehicle, and Evans and her family approached his passenger door. That's when Holston drew his gun, and the victim drew hers, and gunfire was exchanged. But only Evans was hit. She died at a nearby hospital. In court, Holston's wife appeared via Zoom, as well as his two attorneys.
The defendant in this situation took steps initially to try to avoid there being any kind of confrontation.
His attorneys advocating for their client to be released on bond.
There's no risk of flight, and that the defendant is not a danger to the public or to any person.
The prosecuting attorney taking a different position, stating the incident was captured on surveillance video.
We took his claims of self-defense into consideration at the time of authorizing these charges. The defendant who turned it from verbal to something far worse. And that included, pushing away a young woman who was trying to get between the decedent Rita and the defendant, drawing his firearm when Rita had no gun at all in her hands, it was in her purse, pointing the gun at Rita as she was pulling her own gun in self-defense.
After both sides made their arguments about the bond status, the judge made his decision clear.
The likelihood of conviction is high in this matter, in this court's opinion, so the court will accordingly set bond in the amount of $500,000, cash or surety only.
The bond comes with conditions that include a GPS tether with home confinement. CASHAPP Chemicals also released a statement on Tuesday, which reads in part that they are fully cooperating with law enforcement officials as they remain dedicated to their customers and other stakeholders. Holston's next court date is June 8th.